Rick Dougherty here, about to take a tour of the old jail museum in Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania. Jim Thorpe is a place that I would really like to visit more extensively sometime in the future. Maybe do a much longer video. But today I am just mainly focused on the old jail museum because this is where 4 of the Molly Maguires were hanged, or maybe alleged Molly Maguires were hanged, and I'll tell a whole lot more of that history, but we're going to see this incredible piece of history, and then I'm going to walk around a little bit more in Jim Thorpe and show you just a tiny bit, but there's so much here. There is a railroad that goes through. There are tributes to Jim Thorpe, the greatest athlete of all time. This is really the kind of site I want to highlight on the Domino Theory because we have workers' history. The Molly Maguires were coal miners. They were Irish immigrants, coal miners, who were executed for trying to fight for better working conditions. So we're going to talk a lot about that, and there's kind of a little bit of a ghost story that we're going to share as well. Jim Thorpe is located in Carbon County in northeastern Pennsylvania. This is a part of the state that currently is quite conservative politically, but back in the 19th century, Carbon County and the surrounding area was made up of a lot of these coal miners, a lot of working class people, many of whom were Irish and Polish immigrants, a lot of Catholics, and the political climate was much different. That's why you saw groups sprouting up like the Molly Maguires, who were fighting for workers' rights against the wealthy coal mine owners. It was very important to the powers that be that these men be punished, whether or not they were guilty of the things for which they were being accused. It was easy to otherize these Irish Catholic working class men and turn them into villains. This museum is not run by the state. As a matter of fact, it's a private entity. And I kind of wonder if that impacts the way they tell the story of the Molly Maguires. Before you start the tour, they show you a video that heavily implies that the Molly Maguires were Confederate sympathizers during the Civil War. I'm not sure that's true. I believe it may be true that these men were against the Union's conscription draft, where wealthier people could buy their way out of service in the Civil War, but I don't think that means that the Molly Maguires supported slavery as an institution or the expansion of slavery into the Western territories. I'm sure it's much easier to collect money from wealthy donors when you vilify the working class people fighting for labor rights and call them racist, instead of bringing up some of the issues faced in the 19th century that are still issues to the current day. When the tour moves down to solitary confinement, it really makes you think about the inhumane treatment these men received. Yes, I'm sure there were many hardened criminals held in this jail. However, a lot of the people held in this jail were just working class men who were trying to fight for the rights that we now enjoy today. If you like the weekend, if you like not having to work a 70-hour work week, you can thank the men who were thrown into this dank and dark basement. It's another reason that any time in the modern day when anti-worker legislation is proposed, we need to fight against it. We can't assume that these hard-fought battles are over, because the moneyed interest will always continue to try to push back at any gains that are made. And even once they've pushed back to a certain point, they're never going to stop. They're never going to be happy. So we must continue to remember and honor the sacrifices made by those in the 19th century, in the early 20th century, even to the modern day. Those working class people who are fighting for what is right. Legend has it, while being dragged away to his execution, one of the Molly Maguires placed his hand against the wall and said that his handprint would remain as a sign of his innocence. Well, they tried to paint over that handprint, they tried to plaster over that handprint, and it is still there. The jail asks that you not take pictures, but you can buy a photograph in postcard form in the gift shop, and I did that. The tour continues upstairs with the warden's living quarters, and one of the reasons that the warden's living quarters were on the second floor were so that the warden could look out and observe all of the men who were being held in their cells and make sure that nothing was going wrong. Also on the second floor, you could visit the women's quarters. There were a select few cells that were reserved for female prisoners, and they were held in this jail. Just down the hill from the old jail in Jim Thorpe is the Irish pub Molly Maguires. Back in 2022, when I visited Jim Thorpe and I wasn't on as stringent of a diet, I had the pierogies here at Molly Maguires. I'm going to tell you what, if you have never had pierogies in northeastern Pennsylvania, put that on your bucket list, and I would suggest having them here. A great vibe, both indoors and outdoors, including these flags of the different counties in Ireland. A few miles outside of Jim Thorpe is the appropriately named Coaldale and Miners Memorial Park. The park features this historical marker dedicated to the great Mary Mother Jones, an Irish immigrant who led many labor movements and is another one of those people that you can credit for some of the great benefits we have as a society today. Miners Memorial Park also shows some of the propaganda that was used by the mine owners to try to keep workers being productive. And there's even a big slab of coal there as well. So I hope you enjoyed this video on the domino theory. We're going to have more history like this all of the time. Do me a favor, like, comment, and subscribe.